Well, I got a new banner that tells it like it is. Scores of communist Marxists were in the Lincoln administration and Union Army. What a lot of people don't know is that when the failed communist revolutions in Europe in 1848 came about, they were thrown out of Germany in particular. They came over to the United States, and they went into the radical Republican Party basically in 1850, and they were called the 48ers. That's why the Union Army was able to organize so quickly too, because a lot of them were communist militants from the failed communist revolutions of 1848 in Europe. Now you know why the Marxist communist media doesn't like any symbols Confederate. That's really what the core of the issue is. If you look at the limited rights, the limitations on what governments can do in the Confederate Constitution, there were numerous. There was no omnibus spending bills. There had to be 2/3 majority in both houses of Congress to either raise taxes or appropriate money. There was limits on infrastructure spending. Therefore, there was no heavy subsidizing of monopolistic industries, and it too big to fail. There was no forgiveness of debts, foreign or domestic. You know, they do that all the time. Today, they give a country money, a foreign country, and what happens is they default on the loan. But the reason they took the money, they took the loan in the first place, was to buy goods from monopolistic corporations in America. Government is basically the biggest racket for the elite going. So the further limitations on government of the Confederate Constitution would have been a big block to further socialism and communism, which is basically the same thing. I mean, their words are virtually interchangeable, except for maybe the use of force, but socialism uses force in a way anyway. So, that's the latest banner. I wanted to do a test run to see how it came out. Came out pretty good. Now, Lincoln himself, he wasn't a communist per se, but he was approved of by the communists. He was admired by Karl Marx. You see Karl Marx's picture next to Lincoln. Sherman himself wasn't a communist per se, but he was approved by the communists, and so was Sheridan. These are butchers. So, and I'll tell you this, all the media, social media now is the new thing, you know, for the last 20 years, they suppress this information. And Millennial and Generation Z hardly knows the truth. They're being set up for enslavement at best. So, trying to get the message out there. Unfortunately, very few in the organizations, I don't know, they're not doing that much. They're not doing that much. They celebrate their heritage, and that's not really cutting it, in my opinion. But see what we can do.